Hi Sagittarius. This is your May 2024 reading, Taurus season reading, post-eclipse reading, Taurus new moon reading, because you're the closest a reading to the new moon that I have done thus far. Yeah. First thing I guess I would say to you guys is, how are you? Right? I have a little new setup. I'm going to see how it works out for now, but you know, I like to change things up if you've been here a while. If you haven't, hi, welcome. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. I just want to thank all of you who have been here, who have been supported, and the new people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is where we go through the self-discovery with astrology, Venusian, highly Venusian, ruled by Venus. And we also talk a lot about love and money. Those are the main things that come up. We talk about the soul. We go into it all. We get in depth and we laugh a little too. So just in case you are new, all information is to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended link for this reading, which will be in the first link. Patreon link below. Give it about 24 to 40 hours. It's been more towards 24 lately. Man, these cards are really wanting to be, the times want to be specific with you, and I don't blame it, but let's wait and see what they have to say. Okay. First card out is, what is something that has been either, we're going to see what comes out next, but either the few things that come to mind are, of course, that Spider-Man meme when they're all pointing at each other, because it's all them, right? You can't escape yourself. For others of you, it's about perhaps taking something out of your life, something that's been hectic, something that's even been perhaps blocking your psyche, or moving on from a situation that has been causing too much friction, too much. And the friction's okay sometimes, but it's like, this is the Tower moment. So the new moon is saying, the moon is communicating with you in this way. And you will have, if you're a Sag rising Taurus, if you have like a normal chart, Taurus will be in your 6th house of work. So if this does pertain to work and your life around there, either way, there's a situation that is coming to close. Wow. It's a situation, it's a part of your life, perhaps been part of your money making and how you give and receive situation. For some of you, even though this 5 of Wands energy has been persistent, you may be surprised by this moment that happens. I just dropped a couple and you fell out of the deck. Hold on one second. Okay. I saw you first, so we're gonna do you first. So here we have you under the moon, the Taurus new moon. How about it? Here we are sitting under this new moon together. So just like the 6 of Pentacles has the scales, right? Giving away of your energy, being generous, right? You are an extremely generous sign, and it could be in ways to your benefit and to your detriment, especially when it starts to turn you or change you or shift you in a way that you weren't necessarily looking for, welcoming, or you tried to do. It's just something that happened naturally out of a response from maybe acting inauthentic. And maybe you weren't aware of this, but now it's extremely obvious that the way you balance this now, the way you're like, okay, so what do I do? Well, Venus is also in Taurus as well. Mercury will be moving into Taurus. So it seems as though fifth house energy for Sag risings, your creation, for those of you that have Aries in the fifth house, this could be something to do with children, something to do with creating, something to do with your personal power in these places, right? Your personal energy. This is about what you are creating and what you're putting into it as opposed to what you're receiving from it. This is love or career. For a lot of you, it will be career. What the moon, the new moon, has perhaps begun to illuminate, or has already illuminated to you, are some of these are lots of major arcanas out too, so just notate that, is the perhaps control or constraint. Pluto has gone retrograde in Aquarius, but it will dip into Capricorn as well. So whatever's been your earthly control, what has been in the material world, what has surfaced from the material world, from your emotions, right? So even I noticed at like work or in my day-to-day interactions, if there's always drama or certain situations happen that remind me of someone I know, or situations that I've been in, or a feeling that I'm having, a feeling that I'm being triggered by, right? These feelings are always what I believe the universe's sources of our information for ourselves, lessons for ourselves. I think they can really show up in that way. And this one may be tied to your emotions, to your money, how you're using your energy, how you're giving to others because you've been so used to a certain way, but now it's really, you need a huge shift and almost an overhaul, right? It sounds like a lot, but Taurus season is the perfect season to, from what I realized, to look at these heavy things, to look at these things that are coming up in your life and aren't going away, right? They're persistent now, maybe on a even more obvious scale. And I'm not going to keep these guys out, but look at all the kinds of people that are looking to approach you. All these people, regardless if they're good enough or not, you're not really feeling it right now, and they aren't there. It seems as though, and I know a lot of Sagittarius get tested with, especially like romantic or sexually tensioned situations. For a lot of you guys have to overcome that kind of chemistry or that kind of feeling in relationship. And Taurus too. Like there's a few of you, people would be surprised by that with Sagittarius, but I'm not. So that's also something that can be considered very physical, very surface level. And what you're being shown in a very huge way as of right now is that, especially if you're wondering and questioning, like, what is happening? Like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? You do feel it, and you've been feeling it. What is this moment? Like, you have Jupiter in Taurus as well, which is your ruling planet, right? We're gonna get all that into in the second part as well. But for a lot of you, it's that energy of what am I missing, right? Taurus season kind of takes you into, and all the Taurus placements kind of now and under the moon, it's like it takes you into this, like, what I'm trying to say is it takes you into this place where you can really sit with all of this. Because the image that came to me earlier was that your arrow, right, is on fire, right? You're on fire. Arrow's on fire, and it goes, and fire is spirit. It goes through not only wherever you're aiming, but goes through dimensions. So the reason why Sag, if you need any validation of why things have taken the time that it's taken, which you're not alone in, by the way. There's other signs and people in this position, but it's because you needed to have the accurate aim, and the aim comes from deep within, right? You're not looking to aim it in an ego way. At least you've been trying not to, right? You've been looking and perhaps opening it up, and now you see like the very center of control in that way. And there's this position that you really want to be in, and you are in. However, it's this feeling that's taking you away from owning it, perhaps. Ooh, look what comes out next. So, and as you know, so like you're that one sign where I've noticed that you could be upset, bothered, and or just been in a rut or even stuck, and then all of a sudden when you're ready to shift things, like, and I think maybe this is what you realize too, is like, I already know this, like I know like that this happens and then this happens and then like everything's great again, but then all of a sudden, because I feel great, I have to deal with other emotions that are next, and then I go through this cycle again. Well, if you want a chance at greater abundance, and knowing that, like, yes, you're always going to have to come up against some things, including your own doubt and having this experience because of what? To have control over what? You're the one in the zodiac that knows how to have an experience and knows how to have a life. And you think you're finally at the point where you're like, okay, we've stayed here, but now I kind of want to shoot for the moon a little. And now that I'm looking at it, it looks pretty intense and like a big journey, but what's holding me back? And then all of a sudden, what comes up? Whatever the moon represents for you. Because in the dark, the moon looks so close. Like, it looks like you could just go there, right? And then all of a sudden, all of your fears and earthly constraints hold us down, and then you remember, and maybe the Taurus moon reminds you that you're ruled by the moon. You're ruled by Jupiter. And Taurus is like, I'm ruled by Venus and I'm in Jupiter right now. So let's experience some more together. Let's experience this expansion together, especially if in terms of career, if there's things that you want to change in your day-to-day work. I didn't mean career. In your day-to-day work life, it's a Saturn home. And I believe so. It's Venus. I'm sorry. But the day-to-day reminds me of Saturn. That adjective to describe the sixth house reminds me of a Saturn day-to-day, which is the devil here. But it's also Capricorn. And for those of you, sorry about this. This happens sometimes. I knew it was going to happen because it was shaky. It shouldn't happen now because it's not shaky. It's so weird how it does that. It doesn't matter. The lights have always been funny with me. Here, hold on, actually. We're gonna do it again real quick. Okay. Because you're going to have a strike of intuition under this moon, and I'll put it out. I'm going to put it out. Today is like, we're entering the new moon. Tomorrow's the official new moon. I'm going to put it out between today and tomorrow, probably late tonight or early tomorrow morning. I've recorded another video, but I do feel like right under the new moon, you're going to have this moment of clarity. That's the Tower moment. It's the striking of the lightning is a striking of intuition, a strike to your psyche, where you can decide to put things in your way to unsee it, but it's still going to be there. And I think now you're kind of at a place where it doesn't matter how heavy the lifting is, you know how strong you are, and if it's worth changing anything, you're going to shoot that arrow and you're going to let it go through the dimensions because you're ready for a different ride. I think you're finally not only tired of this kind of existence, you're bored in a way that you need adventure, but if you don't want to be self-destructive, like what kind of adventure is there? And this is the card that came out last. which is the Hierophant and another Taurus card. So also for some of you maybe looking to get married, you may find out something about what that feels like to be under that kind of constraint, because there is kind of a constraint under it, right? You have you get engaged, right? And then you have this ring, and it's like that contract that you have together almost. And you find, you and a few other signs are like this, where you're like, ugh, so lame, but you love it, like secretly you love it, and it's okay. It's all right. It's okay to love. It's okay to be in love. It's okay to be fulfilled in this place. It's okay to, and I think really ultimately this season and what's happening is that it's trying to get you to see that, you will have, of course, greater responsibility for what's coming and for your life ahead. However, you can't have all of that without looking at, the things that are hard and uncomfortable and the feelings that are hard and uncomfortable that go along with it. Because that does come up. Because you're finally in a safe space. You're finally in a safe place. You're finally in a safe mind. And this month it intensifies that, because those are all the things that Taurus is. And the energy that persists through it. You may also find that you may need some extra support and help under the guise of this all, and maybe it's just for now, and maybe it's something that you continue to do, but you finally realize you need support with someone who is maybe like Taurus energy, sees through your bullshit, but is loving. Doesn't that sound like someone? Ooh. Right? But you have such a way. And here you are able to, where you once maybe feel like you couldn't collaborate, you couldn't do this, you're finding you may need to clear up some things, have some conversations. When Mercury moves into Taurus, that may be the best time to do it. It's towards the end of the month, the 15th to be exact, actually in the middle of the month, which is also when Pallas Athena goes into Scorpio. We'll get into asteroids more in the future. But this Ace of Cups energy that's flowing into your life with the Hierophant energy. And then we have you again at the bottom, so we're going to use it. And we talked about Mercury a little, so I didn't even notice. I just flipped it over. I was like, let's see what's under there. This is a time for you to then express, right? You're kind of taking a reflective, if you want to grow and you're looking for this kind of energy or this kind of what I mean is, if you're looking for, the advice of the cards or the stars, you're being pushed to expand more, which always means to contract somewhere. So somewhere is going to have that constraint. However, right now is not the time for it to be your beliefs about yourself and what you're capable of, because you're always capable of more, but you have to find where that more fits in, like what that means then for your time, for your energy, even what you're thinking about, right? What's coming up? What are you thinking about? Even what you're feeling, what's that feeling? It's time to take a look at that and communicate it in a way where it's helpful, skillful, it's a tool for you, right? You're putting this into your work, you're putting this into your commitments. You might even find that you spiritually connect in a much greater way, in a much deeper way at this time as well. And that's what makes you maybe feel safe enough or safer to explore all of this, to explore, what could be even from a caregiver that this passed down from, and you see them very clearly, but you find a way to find peace, right? You're in a place where you're like, well, if I'm gonna be doing all this, I might as well just do it all. That mentality is not always beneficial, but now I'd have to say it is Sagittarius. You are in a place where you can overhaul your life, but it's not without expressing, owning your part, right? Allowing the other person to own their part, or the other, whoever's on the other side of this, because there definitely is people on the other side of this. And then when you start to build, which we'll get more into the next part, you'll find yourself deep insight and deep thought provoking concepts about what your life will build upon and continue to look like moving forward. What you know that through this, pointing this arrow, shooting it through dimensions, and how this clears up so much from the past, and how that will present in your future and your present. What do you mean by that? Well, there's a concept that I also very much agree with, that when certain things come up in your life and you go within and you treat yourself, and you consciously are in like a meditative space, basically, where you treat yourself in the ways that you should have been treated from whatever is triggering you in this moment, or whatever is coming up for you in this moment. And although that didn't happen, if your body continuously experiences that over and over until like you've really gotten there, but I do believe if you get down deep enough and relax deep enough, you can really accomplish a lot. But again, you need to take it at your own pace, because this is not a time to just do it because it gets you somewhere, right? That's the work with the journey with you. You're not doing something just because it gets you somewhere. You're doing something for the experience of it. And that experience of it in turn shapes you, changes you, shifts you, creates such a profound mind, and yet simplistic earthly way of living in that mind, or living in that way, because regardless of how people see you, they'll ultimately see you more based on how you make them feel, not how you present to them. That is something that's long-term known. So regardless of how you present and what you're wearing and how you move about, it's how you approach them and yourself, right? And where there has been a disconnect there, perhaps for a while, and you didn't really get it, and now it's presenting in this way. And you're going to have faith this month. There's a lot of major arcanas here. You're going to have a lot of faith and confidence in yourself and your voice, what you're capable of, what you're going through, how that doesn't define you. And as you're overhauling this, also putting your skills to use, and you'll find that if you do this and you do allow yourself to go through this, next month can be very prosperous, very nurturing for your ideas, for what's to come forward. But anytime that you find yourself needing to have a hard conversation with yourself, and then realizing maybe you need to have one externally, or is it just really an internal thing? And then you get so internal and so into yourself, and when you're like so into yourself and so good that you get like, you just basically attract all of the shit, and you feel so calm and like ready, and you don't feel like you need to go crave that extra attention when you go out, or because you have this or do this or present this way. You just feel like I forgot that I am the shit no matter what. I bring that sense of je ne sais quoi, which has been, that was a title of your reading a few years ago. And I just heard an astrologer use Sagittarius energy like that, and I was like, bang, bang, bang. And they're, someone I learn from sometimes. So it's just nice validation in a way where it's like, dope, I got this. And I didn't need them to like said it to me directly, right? I don't need someone to validate me. It's just nice to hear like a colleague, right? To an extent, she's definitely way beyond where I'm at, but like someone who I may not agree with everything she says, but I admire the way that she's presented the way she does business. I don't know her personally, right? So when you have those moments and then can create them in your life in a personal way, right, then things continue to build and build and build and build from there. So I know it's a broad conversation, Sagittarius, but you know, no matter what you have going on, no matter what you're doing, anytime that you really direct your energy, anytime that you also, when it's coming from deep within, especially, when it's coming from a place of, I mean, it could be deep vengeance, right? It doesn't matter what you're feeling when you know and you have no shame or guilt, and we can get into that more because there's some stuff coming up there. You are very independent. However, you're going to need people. You always need people, and you do know that. So it's really important that any of the people in your life that you haven't been able to connect with that are really important to you, if you can find a little time here and there throughout the month, or maybe give them some kind of reasoning, not that you owe anyone an explanation. However, those people may want to hear from you, may want to have a conversation or two, and you're just noticing a lot. So we're going to end there. It's a broad yet very I'm thinking of the arrow and the fire. Multi-dimensional is what I was thinking earlier, and I was like, that is what it is. We like that for you this right now. And I don't mean that in that like, I love that for you kind of way. It's like, I really do like this for you. And we'll see you in the second part. I really do think I like the setup. I like that I can see the window behind it, and we got the evil eye. I do like this, even though it's like not the most comfortable, but I like it. I hope you like it too. It's a new desk that I got for myself. Maybe that you get something that inspires you, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe you just start to inspire you again. You're like, oh wait, yeah, again. I'll see you in the next part. I love you. See you next month. And thank you. All information is below.